As we said a few moments ago, former President Trump says success is the best revenge. Joining us now is Kellyanne Conway. Let me amend that. The great Kellyanne Conway, former counselor to President Trump, Fox News contributor, and author of the very good book, Here's the Deal. You know, Kellyanne, we were talking about with Laura Ingraham. I don't want to be too redundant, but really his performance the other night was first-rate, great temperament, made key points. And then instead of getting all hot and angry and stuff like that, which is what some people thought he would do, he just very calmly laid out, essentially, success is the best revenge. He's not going to have any retribution. There's not going to be any time for it because he's going to be working to succeed so much, which basically was his first term. That was what he tried to do in the first term, Kellyanne.
And Larry, therein lies the greatest strength of his candidacy in 2024, including here in Iowa tonight, where he's expected to just dominate the caucus returns. Why? Because he's already delivered. You can go with people who are making promises prospectively about what they may do, or you can go with the guy who actually did it. And Americans beginning here in Iowa are saying, I'm not going to take a chance on someone, albeit good people, fine leaders. I'm going to go with the guy who did it once. And I think Trump will do it even better and more the second time, because he knows how to peek around these corners of folks who are trying to undercut him and impeach him and indict him and destroy and denigrate and dismiss him. He has a 10-point plan on his website as we speak that talks about dismantling the deep state, talks about, doesn't say draining the swamp, Larry, but in essence it does, and it's very specific about reforming the FISA courts and making sure that innocent Americans aren't censored and spied on and shadow banned. And this is Trump as outsider insider. He has all the hunger and swagger and outsider status of 2016, coupled, overlaid with the record of an incumbent. It really is the best combination. I think it's been almost impossible, as the polls would suggest, for these primary opponents to overtake him, much for that reason.
Yeah. You know, it's just interesting, Kellyanne. By the way, you're right about the 10-point plan. By the way, part of that is going to be impounding budget empowerment authorities. Part of that's going to be reforming the civil service, which is long overdue, which will include, by the way, the FBI and the CIA. So he's on it. You're exactly right. He is on it. But I keep listening to hosts and anchors and reporters talk about the momentum DeSantis has it or Haley has it. You know, I had this other odd thought, radical. The person with the momentum is Donald Trump, who started this year in a totally different space with respect to polling. I know polls aren't votes, but that's what people talk about. He's the guy with momentum, including Iowa. He's picked up about 15 points in the last few months. He's got the momentum. And if tonight works out in any way, shape, or form close to these polls, it's going to be the beginning of one of the biggest political comebacks, Kellyanne, in American history. That's what I think. Probably,
absolutely, Larry, and probably ever. Look, I think the media want a story. They want to be able to cover a story. They don't want the story to be Donald Trump unless it means he's being indicted and worse.
Yeah.
If you're the mainstream media, how many times can Donald Trump prove you wrong and embarrass you? They got it all wrong in 2016. They had a little bit of self-reflection, not for long, and then they went right after him. You know, Donald Trump was inaugurated at about noon, January 20th, 2017. The Washington Post ran a headline 10 minutes later, Larry, digitally, that said, and now impeachment begins. And that's what they've been doing all along. But funny thing happened on the way to trying to destroy Donald Trump. They made him stronger, bigger, and bolder. And of all places, yesterday, the New York Times had a remarkable article, and it talked about how college-educated Americans learned to fall back in love with Donald Trump.
Oh, no.
This is remarkable. And the article said that the reason a lot of these college-educated Republicans and independents are going back to Trump, to couple with the non-college-educated Republicans that are part of his base, is because of these prosecutions. It was really something to read. The New York Times charts Trump's rise along with these indictments. Now, as I've told the former president directly, if in your life you're ever going to be indicted or not indicted, you always choose door number 2. We all know that. But it certainly has helped him politically, because people do see it as trying to interfere in the next election, and had they started with these prosecutions, had that been the only time that they've picked on Donald Trump, maybe they might have a point. We doubt it. But Larry, it's like the upteenth time. They tried the impeachments and the indictments and the collusion for 3 years that never materialized. Even nonsense stuff like golden showers and the like. Oh. So people see in Donald Trump an outsider like them. He doesn't need this job. He wants this job.
What about Brett Stevens?
And I'm telling you, after Joe Biden...
Did you see the Brett Stevens piece?
Yeah, for sure. Yes, I did. He
said, I hate Trump, but he wrote 3,000 words on why Trump has done so many good things, including, you know, going after the swamp, including going after institutions, including closing the border, including a strong economy, helping middle-class people. I mean, you know Brett Stevens, and I know him from the Wall Street Journal editorial page. Yes. He goes to the New York Times. He becomes a never-Trumper. But it was a tremendous, I don't know, maybe the New York Times, maybe they've come to their senses. I don't know. Next thing you know, who knows?
Well, they're hedging their bets. They've read their own polling. You know, Larry, it's the New York Times statewide polling that shows Trump beating Biden in all these swing states. So I think Brett Stevens and others are reading their own polling. I think they also don't want to be caught flat-footed this time when Trump wins. Last point, you know, one of the best things that happened to Trump is Joe Biden. Because that contrast in moving forward here between the outsider versus the swamp could not be more stark. And Joe Biden has earned every bit of his 33% approval rating, an all-time low.
Kellyanne Conway, the best of the best. Thank you. Stay warm out there. We will talk soon.
Thank you, Larry.